I'm going to share the article from my own end, right?
Oh yeah, yes. The first one. Yes, you're sharing it. Okay. Let's what else? What else? Here. Yeah, we're like what? Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining us here at the Movement Radio. Welcome to another edition, an interesting edition of the Movement Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever your geographical location is. Welcome to the Movement Radio. Today, our theme for today is Can Election Fix Nigeria? Can election fix Nigeria? My name is Manuel Alaba Ferreira, and I'm reporting from Chicago. And with me in the studio, I have Abdullahi. Go ahead, from Abuja. Introduce yourself, please.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Studio time check here in Abuja is 5:50 p.m. And we said welcome once again. Today is another interesting edition, and we hope to see more of your engagement more than the previous show. We expect your comments, you pick up the mic from the S Twitter space, and we because it's our collective effort. We all say that fixing Nigeria is not one man job but our own collective effort. So the theme for today, can election fix Nigeria? Let's have that robust conversation. Let's have that your opinion, what you are thinking. Do you think election is the solution? Will do you think if you think election is the solution, come and tell us your reasons. If you think election is not the way to fix Nigeria, come and tell us your opinion or you drop your comment across all our social media platform. But if you need the mic to add your voice, you join the X audio space so you pick up the mic and you make your contribution. I remain Abdullah Salisu Aliyu, here at the Movement Radio, Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Movement Radio, Lagos, Nigeria. I greet you. I salute you for your consistent attendance to this great organized effort to educate our people. We are here once again to bring you yet another fresh episode on Movement Radio. As you know, our articles are always power packed, and we are poised to provide very insightful analysis, different from the ones that you are used to, the mainstream media, that is indeed laced with some lies and some truth. On this side of things, you would only hear the truth and nothing but the truth. And of course, supported by references and data references for you to verify in real time. And you can correct us, all right? You can reach out to us. You can indeed give a different perspective in real time. We take feedback from this side of things, and we can in instantly, like literally, arrange to join us in the studio here, all right, due to your participation. It is not something that is pre-planned. We don't have to. It's our own media outlet, the people's media outlet, where it is not we're not giving mic to just random people or individuals that are indeed complicit to the problem or perhaps the ruiners themselves. This is your own platform, the people's platform. So feel free, feel at home, and relate with us. Get yourself familiarized with us, and let's carry out this work of education to our people, because knowledge, as they say, is power. All right. We believe that if our people have been empowered, if their minds are empowered by changing the narrative fed to them or shoved down their throat by the mainstream media, we are indeed going to be a step closer to the liberation that all of us yearn, and we long for it. It's something that we desire. So how do people liberate themselves without the right kind of education? That is what the Movement Radio stands for. So we welcome all of you across board. We are on all platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Instagram are, of course, our X platform. The audio version is also very much live. Please feel free to pick up the mic and let's have this interaction. It's a two-way traffic, as we always tell you. It's not one way. And we are poised once again to present to you our own perspective to whether or not elections can fix Nigeria. Sit back and enjoy. I'll pass the mic back to Movement Radio Chicago.
For our audience on Facebook, we have two Facebook pages, the Movement Radio and the Alaba Ferreira Facebook page running live. We have two YouTube faces, the Movement Radio and the Alaba Ferreira page running live. We have one Twitch, we have two X running visual, and we have one X running audio. You can catch us or grab a microphone on the X medium, that is audio, the Movement Radio, and we are also running live on Instagram and also on the TikTok. So for now, we want to thank those who have joined us already on Instagram, Mr. Powell and Mr. Yemi. Thanks for joining us, and all the others that have joined us from the other various media. We are going to get started now. But let me see if we have anything for you before we go straight to the business of the day, which is the article we are presenting to you to have a discussion whether there can election fix Nigeria. Now let's share. Okay, let's get started on that, and then we would continue with the rest of the program. So microphone back to you, Lagos and Abuja.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's do the reading of the article while we anticipate others to join us. And it's the reason why we have always said, please remember to subscribe and follow so that you'll be notified when we are live. So let's read the article. Can elections fix Nigeria, shall we? The ballot, the feudal system, and the bill that could silence the Watchmen by Abdullahi Salisu Aliyu. Can an election on its own cure a system built on to resist reform? This is the question Nigerians must now ask themselves with total honesty, stripped of the ritual optimism that greets every 4-year cycle. We are approaching another general election in 2027, and the same choreography is already unfolding. The same appeals to go out and vote, the same assurances that this time would be different, the same faith placed in a ballot box to correct what decades of feudal governance have entrenched. But a fair question deserves a fair answer, even an uncomfortable one. Can the Nigerian electoral system, as presently structured, ever produce the kind of leadership capable of ending bad governance? Or is the system itself designed deliberately or by accumulated habit to reproduce the very class it claims to let the people choose? This is not cynicism, it is diagnosis. And diagnosis, however uncomfortable, is the only honest starting point for a cure. We are not here to point fingers at any single individual. We are here to lay the architecture of the system bare so that every listener can judge it for themselves. An umpire that answers to one of the players. Every credible election needs a referee who owns or holds nothing to either team. Nigeria's 1999 constitution places the Independent National Electoral Commission at the center of our democracy. Yet, the same constitution hands the president the power to appoint its chairman and national commissioners, subject only to Senate confirmation, a Senate typically dominated by the president's own political coalition. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is the constitutional text itself in Section 154. The body meant to judge the contest is staffed by the very office one of the contestants already holds. This is not an abstract concern raised only by critics outside the system. INEC's own current chairman has publicly acknowledged that the commission cannot be truly independent without financial autonomy, warning that continued reliance on the ordinary budgetary process controlled by the executive and legislature weakens its operational independence ahead of the 2027 elections. When the umpire's own head says the whistle is not fully is to blow, citizens are entitled to ask what that means for every election conducted under the current arrangement. The 2023 general election supplied the case study. INEC had promised that results would move from polling units to its public result viewing portal, IREV, in real time, using the bimodal voter aggregation system. It did not happen as promised. A large share of results took days to appear. Manual collation was substituted for the promised electronic transmission, and the Supreme Court itself, while declining to annul the presidential election on this basis, conceded plainly that the malfunctioning of IREV could reduce public confidence in the electoral process. When the country's highest court acknowledges that the process damaged public trust and still finds no remedy available within the law, as written, this is not a footnote. It is the entire argument in miniature. Our electoral law currently protects the outcome of a flawed process more securely than it protects the credibility of the process itself. Democracy priced out of reach. Suppose for a moment that INEC were perfectly independent tomorrow. The ballot would still only be as good as the candidates placed before it. And here, Nigeria's political parties have constructed a second, quieter filter, one that operates long before any voter sees a ballot paper. The price of the nomination form. Ahead of the 2027 election cycle, Nigeria's ruling party fixed its presidential nomination and expression of interest forms at a combined 100 million naira, a sum close to double the total legitimate salary a sitting president earns across an entire 4-year term, and more than 1,000 times the national minimum wage. The leading opposition party has historically charged around 40 million naira for the same forms. Even the newest entrant into the field, positioning itself as the affordable alternative, still asks 60 million naira. At the state level, the figures repeat its miniature. Tens of millions for governorship forms, millions for Senate and House seats in a country where the vast majority of the citizens would never see that sum of money in a working lifetime. Ask plainly, what quality does 100 million naira entry price actually test? Not integrity, not competence, not service to community. It tests access to capital, which in a country ranked 142 of 182 nations on Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index, disproportionately means access to the proceeds of public office already held, or to patrons who expect a return on investment once their candidate is seated. A young reformer with a spotless record and no godfather is filtered out before the first vote is cast, not by the electorate, but by the treasurer's office of a political party. This is what it means to describe Nigerian politics as feudal. The barons decide who may even approach the throne. A citizenry taught to sell, not judge. None of these excuses the electorate of its own share of responsibility. A political culture in which the vote is treated as a transaction, rise today for a mandate tomorrow, does not arise by accident. It is cultivated deliberately by a class that finds an informed, value-driven electorate far more dangerous than a hungry one. But cultivation is not the same as inevitability. A people taught to sell their votes can be taught just as deliberately to weigh a candidate's record and character above the size of the envelope on offer. That re-education is slow, unglamorous work, civic education, credible information, and above all, institutions strong enough to make the vote actually count once it is cast honestly. Which brings us to the second half of this discussion, the bill that would silence the watchmen. At the very moment Nigeria most needs independent eyes on its institution, on INEC's conduct, on the financing of politics, on the management of public funds, a bill sits before the Senate that would place many of those independent eyes under direct government license. The Foreign Aid Regulation, Coordination, Transparency and Disclosure Bill 2026, already passed for second reading in the Senate, would establish a new foreign aid regulatory commission with sweeping powers over any organization, government or civil society that receives foreign aid or grants. Every recipient would be compelled to register within 30 days on pain of criminal liability. Publicly disclose the source, amount, and purpose of every grant. Submit to a fresh annual audit on top of existing obligations, and align funded work with government development priorities, backed by fines of up to 20 million naira and up to 5 years imprisonment for non-compliance. This is not a new idea dressed in new language. It is Nigerians' fourth attempt at essentially the same commission after versions proposed in 2016, 2017, 2019. Each collapsed at committee stage under sustained public and civil society pressure. Nor is it solving a real gap. Government's own Nigeria Development Corporation dashboard already published foreign aids flows by donor, sector, and state, built to an internationally recognized transparency standard, and it would unwind a reform Nigeria civil society spent nearly decades winning. The removal, following international guidance in 2023, of non-profits from a punitive anti-money laundering reporting regime designed for pawnbrokers and car dealers, not community organization. The deeper danger is constitutional. Government revenue and private donations are not the same thing, yet the bill treats them as one. Public funds are already subject to National Assembly oversight and audit by the Auditor General, under the Constitution. A grant from a foundation or a diaspora donor to an independent Nigerian civil society organization is private income, and how an association seeks and uses it is protected under the right to freedom of association, a right Nigeria bound itself to twice over through the International Covenant on Civil and Public Political Rights and through the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the latter directly enacted into Nigerian law. Folding both categories of money into a single licensing, audit, and criminal sanctions regime does not merely duplicate paperwork. It hands over controls that commission the power to decide by administrative fiat, which civil society organizations may continue to exist. Other countries have already tested both roads. India's comparable laws have seen more than 20,000 NGO licenses cancelled or lapsed since 2014, and international anti-money laundering assessors have since flagged India's own safeguards for non-profits as only partially compliant with global standards, evident that the restrictive model does not even deliver the transparency it promises. Kenya took a different route. A public benefit organizations act built on shared co-regulatory oversight between the state and a self-regulating federation of NGOs, achieving accountability without placing every organization's survival on the hand of a single government-appointed board. While the timing should alarm every citizen, consider the two halves of this essay together because they are not separate stories. It is Nigerian civil society organizations, election observers, legal aid networks, anti-corruption monitors, voter education groups that have consistently supplied the independent scrutiny INEC's own internal process have not always provided. It was public and civil society pressure that killed 3 earlier versions of this same regulatory commission, a bill that gives a presidentially appointed board the power to license, audit, and criminally sanction those same organizations. In the 2 years immediately preceding a general election is not a coincidence a serious citizens can afford to wave away. Whatever its declared intention, its structural effect would be to weaken the very institutions capable of holding the 2027 election and everything that follows it to account. So, can election change Nigeria? The honest answer is conditional, not comforting. Elections can change Nigeria, but only if 3 locks are opened first, and none of them open by itself. The umpire must be freed from dependence on the executive it is meant to referee. The gate into candidacy must be reopened to competence and character, not merely to capital. And the independent institutions that watch, document, and challenge abuse, civil society chief among them, must be allowed to keep watching, not license into silence at the exact moment their vigilance matters most. Absent these 3 reforms, an election is not a correction. It is a renewal of the same FUDA contract, dressed in the language of democratic choice. This is the revolution this moment actually requires, not the overthrow of institutions, but their genuine liberation. An INEC funded as a first charge on the Consolidated Revenue Fund and insulated from executive appointment nomination process that tests character and capacity rather than bank balances, and the civic space robust enough to keep every one of the promises honest long after the votes are counted. The Foreign Aid Regulatory Bill, as presently drafted, moves in the opposite direction on the very eve of the context that will decide Nigeria's next decade. It deserves the same faith as its three predecessors. Not because transparency is unwelcome, but because Nigeria already has the tools to achieve it without placing civil society survival in the Commission's hand. The ballot is not fake, but a ballot cast inside a feudal architecture will keep producing feudal outcomes until citizens, civil societies, and the National Assembly itself choose to dismantle the architecture deliberately, structurally, and before 2027, not after. That is the article by our very own Abdullahi Salisu. Now, I think let's go through the mind map, shall we? Let's go
Yes.
to the mind map.
Yes. I think Movement Radio Chicago, if you have anything to add, maybe you can.
No, that's a very detailed article. I think we should break it down in pidgin. You start. I would help in the middle, and then we'll break it down for our people so we can have a clear understanding of what we are trying to say. So there's not too much English.
Okay, just a minute. Let's break it down. Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Sorry.
Just start at the top. The topic can be said.
Okay. I think I'm there. Can you see it now? Can elections
Yes,
fix
can
Nigeria?
election fix Nigeria?
Okay. Let's now move it to a side from the beginning. So we analyze it from that side of things.
So, my country people, today the topic we have as our own topic for today, we say, can election fix Nigeria? A question that we all ask ourselves, that can the election that we normally have after every 4 years fix the problem of Nigeria, fix the problem that we have in Nigeria? And then we have an article that our own brother, read through in the Weibo English. So now we are trying to understand it in our own normal street language. Then now the first thing is the core questions. That's the question now where this article asks us, or is trying to make us ask ourselves. Let's ask ourselves and think deep into this question. Can election alone cure the reform resistant system? Can election cure a reform resistant system? So this one is just saying that, can election cure the system that already is what is formed to go against its own change, to go against change? Can election fix that kind of system? Just like maybe you have something that already that thing is built to what, to go against, to that strong, to resist, that's to fight anything that will change it from the way it is. So then, can election fix that system? Then ritual optimism versus honest diagnosis. Ritual is something that is done every time, that you do it and you do it and you do it. You have a specific time that you do it, expecting you are going to see different results. Or a honest, something that is true from your heart, a genuine change that you are asking. Now, umpires issue. Now the umpires issue, that's the institution issues. Now, like INEC. The INEC, the organ of INEC, appointment by the president. So the Oga of INEC, that's the INEC chairman, is appointed by the president. And Senate confirmation bias. The Senate, after the president appoint, he will send it to what? To the INEC, to the Senate, sorry. The Senate. Those are Oga with the red chambers. Those are our elders where they talk say how the people wey dey red chamber, na dem go confirm say that person wey Mr. President don appoint, na dem go confirm am. And if you look, the president and those people wey dey those red chambers na people from one political party. Majority of them, they are from the same dem financial autonomy concern. The issue of that INEC, that same INEC, that referee, that person wey dey manage game, that like just like football match, the referee wey dey officiate the match is being what? Is being paid by one of the team where they play the match. It's or is so, and then you know say since the referee is being paid by one of the person with one of the team where they perform, where they play the match, you know say to there is question of whether that referee will be honest or you will be going towards that team where they pay in salary. So 2023 election case study. So 2023 election show us like what? Experience, history where we fit remember an issue that we should consider. We don pass 2023, we see wetin happen. So that should teach us a lesson. That should be a lesson which we should what? We should think about. IREV portal failure. That IREV, that internet results evaluation view, where you see all election results, they say they will upload, they will put them on the internet, everybody can see anywhere. But e no work that e no work that time. So that one is also issue of concern. Then manual collection, instead of that electronic, that way they say they will put them on the internet, they will use their own gadget, their own computer, put them on the internet. They no do am like that. Na the same paper from A wey they use, na that same form A they use, they still copy results, transfer them. Then Supreme Court acknowledgement of trust damage. Even this our own highest court, the court where they say apart from that one now God if that one finally give judgment or the next thing now only God, you only wait for God. So they say even them they talk say talk the failure of that, because they no fit carry that election result through the same way where they promise. They say they go use computer upload them on the internet. Since they no do them, they say that one go make people not come to believe in them. Then electoral law protect outcome over process credibility. So the electoral law process, the law will give the electoral that is guiding the election. What they do? The law, that's the rules where they guide the election. It what? It protect they always protect after apart when the INEC chairman don't make announcement. Now only the result they protect. You know they protect how they take the result take come. The result, no matter how it take come, the final announcement is what matters. Then nomination form fees. Okay. The electoral system flaws. Well, democracy price out. So now they talk about the price for all these things is what is very high. Then the nomination form, you see say to buy form to contest for any position, the president APC say make am what? The ruling party make am what? 100 million for you to buy your nomination and interest form. You buy them at what? 100 million. When the country is at people they suffer, they know they get food, while the main opposition party make it what? 40 million. Then the party where they say na new party wey just arrive, even that one where people they say now the option be that's the option, e make am as what? 60 million. So is it truly a new option? Is a question where all of una go answer. Is it that new party truly an option? Then sorry, test. Can you go a little bit? Test access of capital. Mhm. Then they test access of cabinet instead of this election to what? To make sure say they test competence. Can person do the work wey im say im go do? But e dey test what? Capital. That is dey test how much money the person get. Because if you say all this money wey people dey call, you must get this amount of money before you buy form to contest for this election. It is not showing that, it's not asking you, okay, did this person know the job? Did this person promise before and deliver? Can this person even do it? All those things are not part of, but can he buy the form? That's the question wey people dey ask. That's the system is asking, no, not the people. The system is asking. So the system is testing what? Capital, not competence. Then filter out reforms without godfathers. So all the change wey we dey need, if you no get godfather, because if you no get the money, you must get the person wey go fit sponsor you. That's your godfather. And you must have person wey support you, wey back you down very well. Because even based on the electoral law wey dey state billion for you to be able to spend for your campaign, you know say if you no get people wey stand before you, or you no get godfather wey strong, you no fit run am. So that is showing that all the change wey we wan see no be that thing wey dey ask o, na godfather. Then feudal system, barons decide access to power. So those big people wey we dey see, those big people wey we dey see, or big people wey get questionable characters, na dem dey decide who is going to go. Because if you no get money, those people wey get money, na dem dey control who get access to power. Because you must be very strong and very rich. Those rich people wey we dey see at the top, the real nas, so to say, they are the ones controlling access to power, no be your vote. Because your vote, maybe you just dey, the person wey you want make im dey the ballot, no be im go dey the ballot. Because na money dey always judge how that person can go. So citizenry role. So even us wey we dey vote, even you wey dey vote, even you wey dey go cast vote, even you wey dey talk on the person wey you wan vote, you too no be say you no get work wey you go do, or you no be say you too you no contribute. Dem dey contribute, you too you have your own contributing. You have your own contribution wey you dey do, wey dey make your system no work, the system no work. One of the thing wey you suppose do, wey you no dey do right, is you dey treat your vote as what? Transaction. You say, how much dey even give me? How much this person go give me? Instead of you to say, okay, the person wey I will vote, e must be the right person, e must be the person wey go make this country better. No, e dey ask how much the person give you, how much cup of rice the person give you, spaghetti wey im give you, wrapper wey im carry give you, or small chicken change wey im carry give you, wey you spend am in one day. So you dey treat your vote as what? Transaction, just like buying and selling. You no dey treat am as your own right, as your own future, as the future of your own children. You no dey treat am like that. Then cultivated by ruling class. All this thing is cultivated, dey make am. The ruling class make it to be so. No be say, yes, they make am, but you too you dey also help. Then potential for re-education. Oh, yes, potential for education. Ways wey you fit what? All this mentality of selling your vote will fit change is what? Through what? Civic education, credible information, and strong institutions. Civic education, people need to know. People need to know. Even you, as you dey hear us now dey talk, you should try tell other people how they should do things right. Tell them that your vote wey you dey sell no be good thing o. Na your children future, na your future you dey sell o. Vote the right person. If you wan vote the person wey go make the system work for all of us. Na wetin you suppose do. Then credible information. Pass information wey be right. And then INEC have to be what? Strong. INEC have to be strong. No be say e go still dey under one person, or under some people wey na dem dey control where they dey get their money. The person wey they appoint should not be person wey one person go appoint, while that person, him and his party still dey within the contest. No be referee should not be chosen by one of the team wey dey play the match. That's how it should be done. Then the bill that silence the watchman. So then another issue, again one thing wey still dey the tunnel is coming out, wey go fit make people wey dey put eye on top things wey dey happen, them too you tell them shh, close your mouth, no talk anything. And the bill still dey with our ogas in the red chamber. Foreign Aid Bill 2026, that's the name of the bill. Foreign Aid Bill 2026, wey still dey red chamber, where our oga still dey deliberate. They don do the first reading. You know, for the red chamber where our ogas dey, those ones wey we dey call, wey they dey call ogas, but we at Movement Radio we call them with their real names, which are the what, the realness. That's people wey dey make the system no work for us. So they are the what, government licensing NGOs. Government will license NGOs. The NGOs, all those people where they put eye on top things, they help people, they receive money from other countries, people they support them too, they support people here, they make the government do the right thing, all those ones. Now government go come, they give them license. Then sweeping power for new commission. All those people they will be under one commission. When the government go set up the commission, that's they go there under the pocket, the control of the government. All their things must be controlled by the government. Requirement for registration. So requirement should what, all the things wey they need suppose do is what, first they must register, that's registration. Two, they must disclose, they must open out, say everything where they don't get. Third one, the number 3, they must what, audit. They must check every kobo wey enter and every kobo wey comot, where you come, where you go. Then alignment with government. So it must align with government. It must be what, it must work in the same way with the policy and program of the government. Then the next one is what, penalties. That's punishment. If they not do all these things where government say register, disclose, or audit, and do everything, you must what, you will be what, fine, you will pay money, and the money they talk am say e go fit reach 20 million, or you go stay 5 years in prison. That one no be here o. So person wey dey fear all these things will have to obey what the government is saying. So is there going to be fairness in the system with all this sanction, all this control? So previous attempt thing, they try am 2017, they try am in 2019, they also make attempt under late president government, they try am, but e no still succeed because civil society people put pressure on committee stage, all the thing go down, you have to go do am like that. So then duplicate exists, the existing data. There is already an organization that is what, controlling all these things, that is also publishing this thing. That is called what, Nigeria Development Corporation Dashboard. Is on a commission that is also what, publishing every money wey enter Nigeria, the place it go, the NGO it go, the account it go, is always publishing it, so that what, even the people wey dey outside Nigeria, they see that dashboard, they see that thing in the internet, so that you know where the money you the state say, when we have this already, then why another one? Then there is a question that where they give the money outside country, are they complaining? If they are not complaining, then why are you bringing new thing? Or is there any problem to us? Then on those NGO, the listing from AML regime. So another experience where happened before for from NGOs, because they no comply with the system, with the government, they what? They deregister them. They no give them opportunity to do what they, and then people are calling them, they are what? They are saying that the system is dictatorial and is subsistent, is accepting things that, then constitutional dangers. So even under the law, it gets some dangers where this thing go happen, go cost. Treat government revenue and private donation as the same. So if now we say, okay, this thing come happen, it come to reality, then the money wey na government own and money wey na NGO and na individual own, if we say make dem divide am, NGO wey dey handle cancer or diabetes or any sickness or HIV, then they have their own account, they have the way they plan to distribute their money. That one is their private money, but you see that one and government fund should be treated the same. Government is a public fund, this one is a private fund set for a specific target. Then why you go come say you go, the law go come treat am the same, which is a problem. Then infringing on freedom of association, this one go cause problem. Say under the same constitution, there it gives room for what? Freedom of association. You have rights to what? To come together and gather your money and use your money the way you want. But if this law come, it will treat that your money and the public government money the same thing. So you see there is problem. So that, then this one is going against that your right of associating, gathering your money and using your money the way you want. Then grant power to decide NGO existing by administrative fiat. So grant power to NGOs decide decides NGOs existing by this one. Anytime money wey grant wey or all the money wey they give from outside country or from any other institution even within the country, one person, maybe the person wey go head that commission wey government wan set, they feel say that money is wrong, is not supposed to, then the government will decide to collect the money or use it anyhow, or they even punish the NGO anyhow they want. That's by its own decision, anyhow. Or even they will create one English we go confuse everybody and they go make the NGO, if the NGO is not doing what they want. Then comparison to India, that one is what happens in India is an example of what we said before, and Kenya co-regulatory. They give the example how India take happen its own way, it come result to problem, while Kenya's own how they what, the government institution they, and then the own NGOs they have their own, then they join together, they do hand in hand, they work and they make sure that that money is going together. Then timing and alarm. Now the time when they bring this thing is also something that need to make us ask question. Why now? Why this thing they come now? Bill precede 2027 election. Why the bill they come now? Why it they come now? The precede mean coming before 2027 election. Why they come now before the election next year? Then working institution that scrutinize election, because this thing where they happen now, if this thing happen before the election, then all those NGOs where they put eye, where they call them election monitoring agencies, where they put eye on top election matter, where they help INEC even if INEC have some problem, where they make sure say that they give report after every election. If you see them, they go publish, they will come out their own report, say this election is credible, is not credible, these are the errors, these are the places where we supposed fix, where they identify all those problems. So they make them weak, they no feel work like that, because them too they will be controlled by the government. So that's now another thing where people need to make sure they check. Then coincidence is not accident. Coincidence, that's this thing happening like this is not by accident. As it dey happen like this, it's not accident. Not be something wey just happen suddenly. It's something that with what we need to check. That's why it is said coincidence is not accident. So the next thing, three locks. There are three things what we suppose do, what we suppose fix. Where na per lock wey dey lock, what we suppose open. Na three things what we suppose do. Umpires independence. Now these three things, if we do am, e go fix this our problem. Well, we need to know do all these issues where would they say all this wahala where would they talk on top this election matter. The umpire need then INEC have to be what independent, completely independent from the executive. The president should not be the one appointing the INEC chairman. Their money should not be coming from the government directly. You should have a means where they will get their own money so that it will not be interfere by because those people where they maybe they can be under maybe an agency that is continuous, not by political elected members. People wey no be them they no be them too they know they contest election. Maybe under a board or under a ministry that their money is directly going there. You cannot say okay you stop their money because they no do what you want or you put check on top their things. Then candidacy gates. Then now the way political parties dey, the way we dey make get people into the primaries or even how people should come into political parties should be what control. Make sure they what re- reopen competence and character, not just capital. We should not consider whether they get money or they not get. No, the money should be what the least we should consider. That money should be the least thing that political parties should consider. Is what it should be what their competence. Can they do this job? If the person cannot do the job, let he has no business to be there. If the person can do the job, even if he have no moral character, should that person should not has no business to be in that seat, or should not even have any business in your political party, or even if you have business in your political party, should not have business contesting for any election. No matter how rich that person is, you should not have business in your own in contesting any election. Political party, if they can do that, then we'll solve like one of three of our problems. Then the next one is independent institution. So those civil society organizations should, and then all other ones, NGOs where they operate, they should be independent. No government should control them. They should allow them to work independently. If they have things that they need to fix, you can point it out and then let them fix their problems. But you should not control them because if you control someone, you will not allow the person to do the right thing. So the last section, please, can move it a little because so conclusion. Now on the conclusion, elections can change Nigeria. So we are not saying that election cannot change Nigeria. And the article is not saying election cannot change Nigeria, but it can change it can change Nigeria conditionally under some things, under some circumstances, under some rules. If these things are done, then we can say election can change Nigeria. Absent reform, I think it's a renewal of feudal contract. So if all these issues where we get is not, we did not fix it. So then, in the absence of this reform, then if we not fix all these things that we mentioned, then it means it's just like renewal of the feudal system. You know, a feudal system we say is a system where the people at the top, the laws cannot punish them, but you punish, and any of the institution within the system is serving them, not them serving the people. So if we did not fix all those problems we listed before, we mentioned before, we say before, then it's just like renewal. You are just saying that okay, you are changing battery for the same phone that has problem. So immediately the battery come and spoil, you spoil. Even if the battery are better, if the battery itself not be better, it will not even give room for better battery. So just the same thing we just dey do, continuous process. Then genuine liberation of institution. If we can make things, if we want to make things better, we have to have genuine, sincere liberation, change of the system. We need to change the way things are working. The institutions need to change. The system need to change. Everything need to work for people, not for some people. It should not be working for few people. It should be working for everybody. Then foreign aid bill move in the opposite direction. So that bill wey dey give say on top that foreign aid should what? Should go in the it should not be going forward. It should not see the light of the day. It should wait. Even if they are going to consider it, they should wait. Then call the NGOs, let them be the one to sit down and discuss this issue of regulation, and then they can bring something better that will work for both the government and the NGOs. Then the next one is what? Dismantle feudal architecture before 2027. So this feudal system, this system where they work for only few people, we should what? We should bring them down, change it. No be say we should bring them destroy. No, we should change it. We should make it in a way that it will work. It change from working like a room. You have a room, it's only few people, you are like 10, but it's only three people that can enter and sleep inside. The others will be running around. So make it work. Bring change the building, maybe expand the building, may everybody enter so that it will be able to be to be safe from the sun and the rain. But if it cannot be like that, so it should be something that should work for everybody. You say you have big land, the land is big, but you just build a something very small that only few people are benefiting. Is very wrong. Let's have something that everybody can enter and be protected from the sun and the rain. So that's the article, and that's what we have as our first article. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so very much indeed.
yeah. Ibukun, before we continue discussion, is it possible you could go back to the key problems that he highlighted in the article from this mind map? There's a reason why I'm saying that.
Okay.
So the key issues that he brought out from the article, the main ones. Before we even went to the conclusion, which ones were those? The key problem within the system. One, I believe, was the financial, right? Is it that? Go down a little bit, go down, or go up more. Up more, I think. The reason why I'm bringing that up is that that country is just as if we have educated people who see things and don't just discuss efforts to fix, you know, in line with all the highlighted problems that are clearly visible to anybody who has eyes. You know, our people still don't make any effort whatsoever to attempt to fix it. Take, for example, the simplest problem, the problem of money, feudalization of the electoral system,
Yeah.
whereby that's the one number one, the big one. There are others. Everything is big. You can't just say the big one. But let's just take the issue of
That's number one.
candidacy. That's number one, where the form alone to contest for an election, a basic civil servant cannot end that in a lifetime. And nobody in the
Cannot.
system sees anything wrong with this to just bring it up as issues of discussion, as editorials in the newspaper, as topic of discussion. The civil society organization don't even feel a mosquito bite on this issue. The labor unions. So it begs the question to make you wonder, do we even have people who went to school, who have brains at all in that country? I mean, no
Because
issue raised,
in the same
no
environment,
lawyers filing a lawsuit, nothing. Everybody just see it
eh,
as normal.
how will
Normalization of
someone coming
insanity.
to serve the people? be buying form for 100 million, 40 million, 60 million.
And there's no one individual in out of two, or there might be a few out of 200 million to say, wait a minute, this doesn't look right, sound right, feel right. Can we review this? Can we have an alternative way? Can we go back to option A4? Can we have something different? No. So that's to tell you that the entire democratic process, it's a well-planned process by some people to keep it anti-resistance, anti-change, prevent it from further change. They don't want change. They want to keep the feudal system. They want to keep a permanent coup d'etat by the ruling elite against the masses. A lot of people just want it like that. To have that superior urge. All the leaders we've had. For you to even consider this normal, it just shows that we have a community of people who don't think straight. That's just my own view. I don't know what others' view are. I'm sure as people continue to
And
add their
the
comments.
second one is saying access to capital, not competence.
Yeah, also we don't we don't have a screening process. It's like, okay, who is coming to serve in your public service? Who is grabbing the form? What is their background? We have all the criminals that left the United States coming to get political positions in your country. People who have been convicted of done criminal acts. There's no background check. You know, we just let everything go. You have to wonder what kind of people we are. What are we? Are we are we normal at all? You know, our kings, our religious people, our civil society, our academias. And when you're in academics and you can't even afford the money to buy the nomination form, and you're a professor in a university and you're not raising an issue about it. When you're in the military, you're a general, and your entire salary for a lifetime cannot even buy a form for
The
you to
form.
serve your country in the civil way, and you're not raising an issue about it. That means you are certifying criminality in itself. Says only those who have money, and it does not matter how they got the money, that can rule your country. It speaks volumes of who we are, what we are. The mere fact that we don't even raise questions about these things, it's mind-boggling. You know, it is mind-boggling. You know, so there's the financial. What other one? There's the
There's
character.
Godfather.
There's the godfatherism. You know, where that people are selected. You have to have a godfather. Well,
Yes.
actually,
And the
that's
bar
that.
of controlling who becomes.
I I want to add on that godfatherism that Abdullah, I believe that that in itself it's a cultural thing. Oh. Let me tell you why I think that. I'm not saying culturally right. I think over time, fella have sang it in his song. He said, "Oh, over time, parents is your first culture. Then after parents, you have government. Then who is government culture? After you do something over 60 years, that becomes your culture." The godfatherism thing is a culture. I don't know where it came from after the British pretended to have handed over to us. It's a cultural thing. For example, do you know that even for me personally, when I came to the United States and got my first job, I just was just walking down the street and I saw an advert that says employee needed, and I just stopped by and the guy interviewed me and he said, "Oh, you can start tomorrow." Do you know that I had a cultural shock that, oh my God, there's a place on earth where you can get a job without knowing somebody,
Knowing anybody.
without knowing an uncle or father or somebody who knows the governor, knows them. That is that really, really possible? That's a cultural shock. So that godfatherism in itself has been embedded negatively into our culture, whereby Mentally, we just believe we are not entitled to anything unless we know somebody who knows somebody.
Even admission
And
into university is all
even
polytechnic.
admission into university, whereby everything becomes an obstacle. Even when you pass your jam, you still need to know a professor inside the university so that you can get admission. There's a
Because
lot
they will
of
tell you
things
this
that,
is the first list, the second list, and the VC's list.
yes, there's a cultural, we have a lot of problem, but it's cultural, it's negative cultural, but this has to be dismantled. I don't know if those were the things we got from their colonial era and we can continue to perpetuate it, because I can't believe that that's part of the original African that we are. You cannot get anything unless you know somebody. And that reinforces the bribery culture in itself. It's like there's a place you
And
can get a job where you don't know somebody who knows somebody. Extremely
I
shocking.
think, to me, I think it started from the problem of the ethnicity.
Yes,
Then it moved
ethnicity.
to those kind
There was
political
another
class,
word
the
there's another
hegemonious
word
that this
apart
one.
from ethnicity where you to get the people you know into government job. What do you call what's that one called? Where you put only your relatives in the job. What's that called?
Then it's just like,
I've forgotten. Where
I think it's
what
called nepotism. It's called nepotism.
nepotism. Nepotism, yeah.
good, yes.
Nepotism. So culturally we have adopted we have drunk the wrong wine, and we have to purge our stomach and start fresh. That we're not going anywhere with that level of mindset and mentality. Anyway, which other problems were highlighted that I think any normal human being should have caught, said this doesn't sound normal. How do we discuss this? How do we fix this? Then there's the one whereby the new one whereby if you have a forged certificate, it is okay. The forgery is no longer a crime. Those are the new
Yes,
ones.
that's the bar of deciding who will come. Because it doesn't matter who you are, what you have, if the hegemony wants you to be there,
You're going to be there.
you are going to be there. The
It
people
is.
can blab the way they want.
Then explain this NGO licensing impact on the election. I'm a bit confused a little bit, Abdullah, on those ones. What were the impact
Okay,
of
there,
NGOs and all these commissions? If we can let those things show so we can see it as we go back and forth on it. If anybody
yes,
wants to ask for microphone, I can see quite a few people on the X discussion thing. I see Danwise, Edo Pikin, Dola Idowu, and Ebitimi. So if anybody wants to contribute or add, request a microphone so that Ibukun from Lagos can add you. And so you see, government licensing of NGO. What's this
yes,
foreign bill
because
aid of 2026? Explain it further. I know you
yes,
did
there
earlier,
is
but
yes, it's a bill that is coming, that is in the currently in the National Assembly. Is going to regulate the finance that NGOs receive from foreign donors. That's each and every resources that comes to you, either grant or support from any quarter. It has to be verified by the government, and the government have because it's going to like fall back to the government first before the government you submit how you are going to spend the money before the money will be you will be allowed to use the money. So it's a bill that is going to make sure it control all the NGOs, all the civil society organizations, including small groups that operates even at local level. So all of them are going to be under the government watch. Is that there is an the government is going to establish an agency that will be controlling all that money. Anything that comes to you, it will be regulated by the government. So the danger of it is that if the government is controlling everything, like for example, budget, Tracker, Transparency International, and other NGOs that in Nigeria that helps monitor election. That after every year, like the African Electoral, or even let's say the Yaga Africa, they always, and the Serap and others, they always give out election election reports after every election, that okay, how credible the election, and make sure that every time there is election electoral reform on the electoral bill, they always come forward and give and go against anything that is going anti people. So if the government is in control of their licenses, their registration, and they do audit of every kobo that enter into their cover, so sometimes they might use some kind of administrative fiat, their own decisions, to make sure that they put down on these institutions, instead of them, the few ones that remain in the country that are holding the government to account a little. So if they have been muzzled down by all this bill, so them too, they don't have mouth to come and say, because they know they have someone that is appointed by the government, was, because they have to renew their license every 2 years. That's what the bill is saying. Every 2 years you have to go and renew your license. So that means if you are not going in accordance with the government policy, then the government might decide not to renew your license after 2 years.
Yeah, that
Or
is
maybe they may say that
Abdullahi.
you have
This
some financial inappropriacy.
I know.
Then
We already have a government that operates with impunity. They are above the
yes,
law. They don't follow the law. Now they want to get more authoritarian and more dictatorial. They want to and check those that are checking up on them. NGOs for now will be, I don't know if the NGOs too are doing their job perfectly, but majority of them are cash TVs. But the ones that are doing their job, at least they're the only few checks you have on government. So they want to muzzle them out. So the system of fascism can be thoroughly completed. That's what this is all about. They want to muzzle them out so more dictatorship can occur. And with a government that operates under total impunity, you know, no no responsiveness to the rule of law. So that's just strengthening
And
their
just
dictatorship.
to add to that, the whole idea of this whole thing is to cripple opposition, because they know that opposition would most likely be getting funds from outside the country. Is to threaten and to cripple opposition parties, opposition political parties, so that at least when they are defunded, they will have the upper hand. The ruling party will have the upper hand, and they will literally micromanage every funds that the opposition party is getting. That is the whole idea of this whole thing. And as you have said rightly, Mr. Laba, is just a fascist system that wants everything to be under its control.
This is a very dangerous government that we are under. We're purely under a fascist state. I'm telling you, Nigeria is currently Germany in 1933. Anybody can disagree about that. We're under a full control one-man state. But while the elites, the opposition, the about 19 parties are not, I don't know. Anyway, let's look at some other things that affect election apart from this foreign bill acts, because we know these NGOs help. Is there any other issue, major issue that you raised apart from the bill? Yeah, make it bigger. That's good. So what else do we see there? Yeah,
selling their
I don't.
vote, making their vote transactional.
Yeah, but you can't really. The thing has been transactional from the top. From the moment you purchase a nomination form, it's already transactional. So taking it down to the citizenry level is being unfair to the citizen, in my own opinion. It's been transactional from the top. You're paying 100 million. What you need is to borrow more money from the bank so that you can pay the citizens so that you can get your 100 million back. The entire process is transactional. Ain't got nothing to do with the citizen collecting bread or rice at the polling booth. It's purely transactional from the top, and that's what needs to change. And if this is what we are going to hold on to, I would advocate we don't even need a democracy. This is insane. This is not democracy. This is fascism on a speed dial. We shouldn't operate like this. This is a launch to have multiple Adolf Hitlers in our communities. This is madness. You know, it's straight from the, you can, every educated person, middle class person, professional want to blame the people collecting rice. This is not about the people collecting rice or bread at the polling booths. This is transactional from the top, from the policy. And that's why I said, do we even have academias in that country that look at these things and raise voices, or they're just all about their own infrastructure too, their own stomach? Because this doesn't make sense. This cannot go on. This cannot be handed over to the next generation. This is not democracy. This is something else. This is an abnormality. You know, we need civil education. We need re-education. We need a total new system of government. This is not a government. This is nothing. This is fascism on speed dial. This is madness. I mean,
the whole thing is just cancerous. And when you have a cancer, experts who understand how cancer cells works, they can tell you what you need to do to a cancerous cell. And that will be all I have to say about that. The whole idea is to uproot and to cut off. All right.
The whole thing is flawed from every aspect of it.
Yes, from every aspect. So it has become cancerous.
So the system got to go. The people
Got
should
to go.
start campaigning.
Got to go.
This system got to go. If we have to go back to option A4 or put people's name in a cast a lot for people's name to be nominated, we have to go back to this money to politics thing. Is a recipe for disaster. Oh, we're already in disaster format anyway, but
maybe perhaps recipe for more disaster.
More disaster. If this thing lasts a day longer than necessary, and I'm talking last longer than tomorrow, we're destroying our country for the next 500 years.
Yeah.
Whatever this is.
Absolutely.
Anybody requesting a mic, talking, you guys have further comment before we go on to something else? What's the question from democracy? Definitely the answer is no. This is not democracy. This cannot, whatever this is not democracy. This cannot fix our problem. Will multiply our problem 100 times fold. Whatever this is, we're practicing.
Because this is pointing that every 4 years we are multiplying our problem
by 100 times fold.
Yes.
That's what this is. And nobody in the community is saying anything. No major speaker, no major person with a microphone. They
and
all
that is where
pretending we are sleeping.
That is where it gets tricky for me. You know why? Because even if we are not going to explore election as an option to fix Nigeria, and of course, election is like an activity that will bring about leaders that can fix the problem through the access to policy lever and political will to solve the problems. So election is just an activity, really. And revolution is also an activity, all right? So even if we are not going to even use election as a pathway towards liberation, how many of our political analysts, how many of our political commentators, how many of our professionals are even advocating for a revolution as an alternative to to fixing the
Even them,
problem?
they are afraid
That
of
is
the
where
word
it gets
revolution
tricky.
because they are
eh?
thinking that the revolution is going to unseat them.
So essentially, they just want the status quo to continue, which essentially means that we are cooked. All right. When you don't want to explore election, you are keeping quiet in participating in elections. All of the civil society organization has been, based on the bill that is about to come up. They want to cripple all of them. They want to defund all of them, cripple them from access to funds. All of the opposition parties, political parties, they want to cripple their access to funds and support from the global, participation and contribution. They want to micromanage everything. All right. And the experts are not saying anything about it. The mainstream media are not saying anything about it. All right. And they are not even offering alternative solution different from elections. If you tell them about those alternative solutions, they shut you down. And they are the ones that are being used. The system are using the professionals to count elections. You can imagine politicians with no degrees. They don't even they don't even go to school. They are the ones, counting the numbers for the politicians, and they are happy to do that
From one
because
to
they know
one, two,
exactly how
three,
much money
30,
that will come into
70.
their account. What were you saying,
A
Mr. Abdullahi?
professional embarrassing him. An academia, someone that is called an expert, embarrassing himself in the public. You will come, you will
So
be in the presence of the public, and you, in your own position, your own rights, you will be saying that in a class, in a four walls of a classroom, or a hall, or an auditorium, or a theater in a university, you are saying you are teaching both knowledge and character and knowledge. But you are in the you are in the before the camera, before with a mic in front of you, you are embarrassing and you are exhibiting nothing close to morality.
so essentially, no one is recommending solutions. All right. And those that are recommending solutions are blacklisted, defunded, or
They will say they are
mocked.
dangerous people. They are trying to break the country because when you speak the word
So
revolution, liberation, they will say that you are trying to tear down the country.
exactly. Exactly. That is a conundrum that we'll find ourselves.
And
Please
most
proceed,
of
Mr.
them,
Laba.
okay, yes, you can continue.
The conversation still goes on, but just to take our mind off from this tragedy, let's just go back in time in history. Today is August 13. Today in history, in 1985, on August 12, 1985, Nigeria wins the FIFA Under-16 World Cup. That was the day Nigerian schoolboys ruled the world. On this day in 1985, a bunch of fearless schoolboys pulled off one of the greatest underdog stories in football history. Armed with nothing more than raw talent, grit, and unyielding spirit of Nigeria, the original Golden Eaglet conquered the globe at the inaugural FIFA Under-16 World Cup in China. They didn't come from the elite academics or professional clubs. They were plunged straight from school fields across the country. Yet, led by Captain Udoka Ugbadi and masterminded by Coach Sebastian Bodrick in Maswen, they stared down the football giants of the world, defeated West Germany 2-0 in the final in Beijing, and brought the global glory home. That historic triumph did not just win a trophy, It bats a legacy laying the foundation for Nigeria to become a powerhouse in youth football. That's August 12, 1985. That's how many years ago is that?
That's around 41 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, let's share that good news for now. We can continue the
Yeah.
conversation. Anybody commenting on can election fix Nigeria? Do we have commentators? Oh, go on.
Not any. And please, let's be aware that we can pick up the mic and drop our comments. In my view, there is no excuse of non-participation. Maybe perhaps this is also a validation that we are part of the issues, really, because our non-participation in activities, all of these things are just activities. As I said, election is an activity, revolution is also an activity. Whether or not we are willing to participate is a different ballgame. Passing the mic back to you, Mr. Alaba.
Let's go back in history. It looks like we did well some few things in activities. On August seems to be our month. We're having good stuff to share back in history. Historical Nigerian brings this to us. There's a bronze medalist, Beatrice Utondo, Faith Idehe, Mary Oyali, I remember that name, and Christy Opara Thompson, I remember those names, at the Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain, 1992. Look at that picture of those ladies celebrating victory. Great Nigerians. That was 1992, August 8th.
And of course, we also had a story of our first medalist in Olympics that the president of the time promised, the government of the time promised a building and some other benefits, and they did not pay or give her these benefits up until just like 2 years ago. Since the early 90s, promises that Nigeria. All these guys now, where are they? That is the question.
Those are Nigerian heroes.
All these legends, are we treating them well? Do we have respect for them or program to treasure their memory and preserve their legacy?
Just look at that picture. Look at the joy in those ladies' eyes. Look at the happiness. The bronze medalist, Beatrice Utondo, Faith Udehe, Mary Oyali, Christian Opara Thompson. That's in Barcelona, Spain, 1992. Great women. Sometimes we gotta share some of these positive things to lift ourselves up from the tragedy that is Nigeria today. I think we have some more stuff to share for you before we move on. We can continue. You guys can keep commenting on that kind of election. So what's the way forward, guys? What's the way forward on that election issue?
Collective participation, and ending our silence, very important. We have been silent. We have been silent for way too long. In fact, it is that silence that has emboldened and facilitated this feudal system and this fascist system, because they know that the people would not say anything. They would not do anything. They would not lift a finger. So that has enabled them to go all the way, really.
This day, April 13, 1997, this is the person currently leading Nigeria, and this is his opinion about the country he's leading. I don't believe in one Nigeria.
Imagine.
This was published on Sunday, April 13, 1997.
Nobody is still asking him the question.
No, not single journalist put a microphone before him during election, after election, say, do you still believe that you don't believe in one Nigeria?
And even as we are going into another election season, nobody is asking him the question. Because someone
I
who don't
said,
believe in the one Nigeria, then why
I'm
should
just,
the person I said,
I'm,
even as we
go
are
ahead.
going into another election,
Yeah.
nobody is still asking him the question that did he still believe there is no one Nigeria or he believes in one Nigeria? What makes the difference with his own statement before and what is happening currently? He said he don't believes in one Nigeria, and then he is presiding over a one Nigeria. Then what? That's contradiction. Then that's the person has no moral character. All he is after is his own interest at the particular period of time.
Happens when you have an enemy within, when you have a CIA asset as your number one citizen, when you have somebody that should not even have gotten there with no educational background, but because some judges who have education cannot think straight, they approve him to be there. This is what happened. But that's not what interests me on this day newspaper. It's the price of that newspaper. 150 naira. It does these days still exist? And how much do they sell their
Yes,
paper now?
it still exists. It's around 250, 300.
That's not bad.
Yes,
A
it
nice.
still exists, and they still have the online version,
Oh wow.
which is
I
mostly
doubt.
free.
Maybe let's just put this caveat out there. This looks like AI generated image
Okay. It looks like
because that even
AI.
that price is revealing because 150 naira in
Yes,
1997 is a lot of money.
it's not. Yes, it's a lot of questions
A
Yeah,
lot of money.
I
That
don't think it's a
so it's
hundred
not
and
real.
because
fifty
if we
naira.
compare it to other newspapers as of then, it's far less than that.
Yeah.
So, but what I believe strongly that there's a particular quote attributed to Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he says it does not belong in one Nigeria. In one Nigeria, that is actually correct. So maybe other things, the dates or the price, or perhaps whether or not it is AI generated is another ballgame. But there's indeed a quote credited to him saying that it does not belong in or believe in one Nigeria. Yeah, that is not a lie. That is correct. That's accurate.
While we are still talking about an election fix Nigeria, we are going to bring you, after we finish that conversation, we're going to bring you this article by Taiwo Akinlami on this Oshun election, the graduate democracy, the sanity of expressing shock as what is normal. Yeah, that's why we got this. That's what we're going to be talking about next. But first, let's continue our conversation on
Please,
and this.
Mr. Laba,
Yes.
check the YouTube comment section. I think somebody's got a message for you there.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Mark
Let's see.
Kennedy, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no. Those are can be.
So maybe
Yeah. Those are people I know. Don't worry about it. Well, those are my
I know.
people. My children. Yeah. I think my children. Yeah. Let me answer yes to that. So that's interesting. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. That's not a political comment. That's somebody just sending me a kudos from somewhere. Okay, let's move on to some other issues we have. We're going to be talking about that, the graduate democracy. We will talk about that. Let's look at what Kuti is saying. Femi Kuti has to say briefly. The Afrobeat musician Femi Kuti. Let me share that screen with you guys and see what he is saying. Is the picture showing? Is his picture showing,
Yes,
guys?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely,
okay.
yes, it's showing.
Yeah, Femi Kuti blames the judiciary over Tinubu's emergence as president. Afrobeat musician Femi Kuti has criticized the judiciary over the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu emergence as Nigeria's president. Speaking on the country's political situation, Kuti said the judiciary, rather than Tinubu himself, should be blamed for allowing him to assume office. In his words, he said, "You think Tinubu is the problem? The judiciary that did not stop him from getting there is the first place, is the problem." I keep telling you that the elites are the Nigerians' problem. When an educated person allows an illiterate, somebody who did not go to primary school, did not go to secondary school, has a forged certificate from Chicago State University, and the judges don't see anything wrong with that, and they went to school, they have a degree in law, they have a degree in constitutional law. You see, this is what we call upside down. Head for down, yash for up. This is really upside down situation.
It's crazy.
Head for down, yash, head for down, yash for up. I don't travel, I don't see. For oversee, everything is organized, pata pata. Okay, let's move on, guys. We got so much stuff we're sharing. Still, while we're waiting for people to pick up the mic to stand, but you guys in the studio can continue your conversation on this election fixing Nigeria. What should be amendments? What should we do? What's the way forward? What is the pragmatic route forward?
Yes, the three suggested solutions are taking competence, character as the key principles for choosing candidate, not money, or for anybody coming through politics or going into buying for any political position. Money should not
How
be something that we
bring
should
that into
consider.
law? How do we make that happen?
Then that's why even the political parties itself, because they are the major people that are making the problem more bigger. And then the institution, the electoral umpire itself, should reduce, because now if you check, it's just that because I can, but it's about 1 billion or more than 1 billion. That's what a president can spend during his campaign, which is far much big. It's telling you that how will someone be spending this amount of money and expect him to work for the people enough when he gets into office? So it's a lot of things that, because both the institution and the political parties, that's the INEC, that as the electoral umpire, the political parties. That's why to some extent I look at the electoral umpire as a political party.
Abdullah, you're breaking out. I didn't hear what you said last.
Yeah, I think it's having a network issue.
Okay. Yeah,
I
that is
think,
our
in
problem.
my view,
Yeah, go
in my
ahead.
own view, I believe we are already doing what needs to be done. Really, we must constitute an alternative media platform that provides the people the kind of orientation that they need to pressure the system or bring about their liberation. Because it's a captured situation. You know, when you have been ambushed or cornered to a tight corner, you know, people are demoralized. And of course, yeah, before I forget, it seems as though we are being shadow banned on X and other platforms, because it seems to be zero views for like 2 hours straight, and our YouTube is doing well in terms of viewership. But well, I think there's something that is suspicious. It seems that the
How do they
system
do that? How do they do
is like
shadow
this.
banning? Is
Yeah, I
that
think
really a
it's the
possibility?
system. Yeah, there's a possibility, for the system
Uh,
to shadow ban. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's
But
while we're talking about our audience, let's quickly give a shout out to those that are with us. At BTME, we want to thank you for being with us. Dollar Idowu, we thank you. Freno, we thank you. Don Wise, we thank you. Edo Picking, we thank you. And on our Instagram page, we want to thank Mensa for joining us. We want to thank David Bades for joining us. And on the TikTok end, that's the TikTok one is always the toughest for me. The list is always very long and the name are so tiny for me to see. So I can see King Dear Love, I can see Beat. I don't think I pronounced that guy's name right. Diop also, Jenny Mong, Vita Tag, Jesse Girl. Who else do I have here? Fasiya. I see you. Mensa Memo. Mensa Moremo. I think I'm so sorry when I messed people's names up. Mr. Adam and Jen Edu, Mr. Mendoza. Who else is this? User 84399 and Mrs. Akuben. And who else I got? I got Monese, Jean, Belong. Quite a long list here. It's always tough to read all the names on the TikTok screen, but I feel that if I didn't call your name, please don't be angry with me. I have Judith Love, Mariana Kamara, Brew, Sadbi, Luanji. Thank you all for joining. Mosley, user 398, Usman, Michelle, and Jenny, and Brutus. Oh gosh, the names are too long. I might have to stop here. Join Perry Rowe, Blanca. TikTok seems to be having the crowd. As for those of you on YouTube, I cannot see the list of the names. Those on Twitch, I can't. But we thank you all for joining us, and those on Facebook, we thank you. Jay Jati, I'm gonna have to stop. Gooba, because this list is not ending, and the names just keep popping up. So thank you all for joining us anyway. But on that page, yeah, you might be right about the shadow ban. It doesn't bother us. We keep doing what we got to do.
we would have to put up some post on X to inform the admin of the X platform that because of the nature of what we do,
Okay.
we might be reported for shadow banning, but they should indeed review our broadcasts and do the needful. Yeah. But we'll put that out. We'll sort that out at the end of the broadcast. Yeah.
Oh. What Lucy Shima has to say with us. When morality becomes selective, our moral values and moral compasses become remarkably different when we stand to benefit from an infraction. We condemn wrongdoing when it's committed by other side, but suddenly find explanation, excuses, and justification when it benefits our own side. Our own side.
Can you share the screen? You aren't sharing the screen yet.
Okay, yeah, let me share the screen. Hold on. Share the screen for that. Okay. So where's the lady that's making that statement? This is the lady. Lucy Chima said, we condemn wrongdoing when it's committed by the other side, but suddenly find explanation, excuses, and justification when it benefits our own side. That is more than hypocrisy. It is the erosion of the very values that make democracy possible. Democracy is not sustained by elections alone. It requires integrity, accountability, respect for the rule of law, and the courage to call wrong wrong, even when we stand to benefit from it. When our principles become conditional on what political interest is being served, we are no longer defending democracy, we are helping to hollow it out. I hope the APC does not kill democracy in this country. I think they already did. I think they are burying it. What we are witnessing is not progress, it is regression. A troubling regression from the democratic standard and values we have fought to build. This is exactly how democracy dies. Thank you, Lucy Chima, for that. And that's our picture. She shared that on our Facebook, and we shared it on our own information page. And now, this is from Omoni Ibiton. Our increasing dishonest response to social issue is concerning and dangerous. No one will be saved by avoiding the inconvenient truth. So while we're going back in history, let's talk about this guy, Samson Okparaji. I don't know how many of the young ones remember him. Samson Okparaji, if you're a football lover, I remember him back then at the National Stadium when he fell during the match. Samson Okparaji. I don't even know if that country is honors this man. On August 12, 1989, Samuel Okparaji died while representing Nigeria. On August 12, 1989, thousands of Nigerians gathered at the National Stadium in Surulere, Lagos to watch the match Nigeria play Angola in 1990 FIFA World Cup qualifying match. Nigeria was leading 1-0. Then in the 77th minute, Samuel Sochukuma Okparaji suddenly collapsed on the pitch. There had been no collision with another player. At first, many people believed he had suffered a serious injury. He was carried off the pitch and taken away in an ambulance. Nobody inside the stadium wanted to believe what would come next. Samuel Okparaji was dead. He was only 25 years old. But the tragedy was even more painful because the man Nigeria had lost. Born on 19 May 1964 in Olu in Imo State, Okparaji was not an ordinary footballer. Okparaji was not an ordinary footballer. He was also a scholar. While pursuing his professional football career in Europe, he studied law at the Pontifical Lateral University in Rome and obtained a master's degree in international law. At the time of his death, he was pursuing further studies towards a doctorate. Football, however, remained his passion. He began his professional career in Europe, playing for clubs including AS Roma, Dinamo Zagreb, Austria, and Klagenfurt, Stuttgart in Germany, and SSV ULM. But his greatest ambition was to play for Nigeria. Okparaji made his international debut for the Green Eagles on 30 January 1988 against Algeria in Enugu. He quickly became an important member of the national team. At the 1998 African Cup of Nations Cup in Morocco, Nigeria reached the final. Okparaji also scored against Cameroon after about a minute of play, one of the fastest goals in the history of the tournament, and was named man of the match twice during the competition. He also represented Nigeria in the 1998 Olympics game in Seoul, but it was his commitment to Nigeria that made him particularly memorable. At a time when clubs could demand money before releasing players for international duty, Okparaji reportedly made sure his contract allowed him to represent Nigeria without the country having to pay his club for his services. He even paid his own way home to play for the national team. When one of his club managers demanded money for his release in 1989, Okparaji reportedly refused to accept the idea that his country should have to pay for him to represent it. For him, playing for Nigeria was not simply another professional obligation. It was a matter of principle. And on 12 August 1989, he was doing exactly that, representing Nigeria. The match against Angola would be his final game. After he collapsed in the 77th minute, journalists and officials rushed to find out what had happened. The news was eventually confirmed at the hospital. Okparaji had died. An autopsy reported that he died from congestive heart failure and an enlarged heart and high blood pressure. The news devastated Nigeria. He had been preparing for the future and dreaming of representing Nigeria at the 1990 World Cup in Italy. He never got there. Instead, his name became permanently connected with the National Stadium where his life ended. He was buried on 2nd September 1989 at his native Umuadioka after a funeral mass conducted by Catholic Bishop of Olu. A bust was later erected in his honor outside the National Stadium in Lagos. Samuel Okparaji played only 8 times for Nigeria and scored just 1 goal. But history is not always measured by statistics. Sometimes it is measured by what a person stood for. Okparaji was a footballer, he was a lawyer, and he was a scholar. But above all, he was remembered as a young Nigerian who gave everything he had to represent his country. He came to the National Stadium that day wearing green of Nigeria. He never left the field alive. More than 3 decades later, his name remains part of the history of Nigerian football. If you remember Samuel Okparaji, share the story and help keep his memory alive. How many of you in the studio remembers this guy?
Well, I was born in 1991, so I wouldn't relate.
When did Okparaji die?
I think 1989, I believe.
1989. You were still alive when he died, right?
I was born in 1991. So.
Oh, okay. 2 years before he died.
But I heard the news reading.
Fell and slumped. What about you, Abdullahi? You remember Okparaji?
I also only read about him because when we were writing a report about some players, both on the local and international league, that died on the pitch. So that's when I came across his name and I studied maybe a little about him, but I don't know him that because even me, I wasn't born when he died.
Him out. We saw the ambulance on TV, pick him up, took him to the hospital. It was a very tragic day. It's good to remember him. He was a hero. Nigeria really remembers heroes. So we continue with our conversation. Can election fix Nigeria, guys? Nobody's joining us to contribute to that. They would rather it's not partisan enough for them to join. We want to share with you what a zoo looks like in I don't even know. Is this in Yola, Adamawa? I don't know. This is from Mayegun's diary. I love Mayegun diary. I like listening to him. Let's see what's what we call a zoo. Can we make this?
First thing that welcomed us is this crocodile. We thought it's a real one. Cement croc. Hello, lion. Yola, why now? Yola, what's up? 500 naira to view this.
I don't believe they are charging them for that.
First thing that welcomed us is this crocodile. We thought it's a real one. Cement frog.
Oh, they had a cement frog. That's interesting.
Hello, lion.
And they have a live lion there.
Yola, why now? Yola, what's up? 500 naira to view this in this economy.
And they even charge them 500 naira.
First thing that
That's a
welcomes
zoo
us
for
is
you.
this crocodile.
Boku and Abdullah, when I told you
We
that
thought
there's
it's
a
a
lot
real
of
one.
crazy people in that country, you think I was joking?
Cement frog.
There's a lot of crazy people,
Hello,
and somebody
lion.
is charging them for this and calls it a zoo.
Yola, why now? Yola, what's up? 500 naira to view this
I
in this
think
economy.
this one, even a sculpture garden, maybe
First thing
that
that
is better
welcomed us
than
is
You say what, Abdullah?
I said even sculpture garden in Abu Zaria, a garden
I don't
is
believe they
better than
charge.
this.
Believe they charge them 500 naira to view that rubbish. There's a lot of
No,
sick
zoos
people in
in
Well,
that
Nigeria
place.
normally
it's true.
Eh?
they charge.
The charge, unfortunately.
But whose idea was that to? I tell you, there's a lot of people people are just playing crazy, just plain crazy. Let's share this one before we move on to our next topic. This is about the mass wedding is a solution to insecurity. If we want to end terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, let's marry out the youth. This problem would automatically disappear. I told you, there's a lot of mad people in that geographical contraption. If this is not madness, I don't know what it is. In a country that has more than 20 million children out of school, a state
And you are
government
saying
is
let's
sponsor.
get married people, then that's what will be the solution. What is the relationship between marrying the youth and reducing insecurity?
I told you there's a lot of mad people in governance in that geographical contraption. They are really mad. They've gone mad. Well, what they're doing is weaponizing poverty. They're basically paying for votes. So the people they marry obviously would have to vote for them. But either way,
Them and their families.
it shows you the misplaced how we misplace priorities in a country that has 20 million young people out of school. You're spending government's money to marry out, and somebody out of those that were marrying out, that was their third or fifth wife. That shows you're funding people's excesses with the government's money when your children are not in school, when you don't have good roads, you don't have hospitals, you don't have. They are that place is just a congregation of those that belongs in the asylum. Obokun and Abdullah, your comments on that before I move on. This is crazy. This
To me, it's actually insane for you to even there is no correlation, there is no any relationship between insecurity and no someone not marrying, because it's just telling you that okay, you don't even actually know the problem, because the more you marry more people, then how sure are you that those people would they be able to take care of the people they are going to bring to this world? Already, if you check their family background, some of them don't are not even responsible in any way, and then you are making them to, even if you solve the problem of, assume that maybe you are saying that okay, then they are going to stop what they are doing. They are not going to stop it, because that person has to be responsible for taking care of that family, even if you don't have existing ones. You have to take care. Then how is he going to take it? If he cannot provide for them, then he's going into insecurity. Anything of any option that is available for him to get resources and then provide for the family. So there is not, because in the real sense you are creating more problem than solving a problem. So it's just clear. They are just trying to make sure that the people are what deluded into some kind of spiritual concussion, because it's spiritual concussion to me that they will tell you marriage is blessing. Yes, it is, but I don't think this is the way that we should think about it. Please.
I'm gonna read what he has to say on this. This is madness. I'm telling you, these people belongs in an asylum. This guy, this Kabiru Gobe, he belong. Now, while cleric judges took center stage with his inflammatory remarks and incitements against Christians, many of the other attendees contributed their own share of collective nonsense. One particular speaker caught my attention in a desperate bid to justify pouring 1.5 billion naira into Kanu mass wedding initiative. He declared, mass wedding for youth will end terrorism and insecurity. When asked how, he claimed it was the underlying wisdom of marriage. But based on basic facts, every single bandit, kidpin, I know as wives. In fact, many Fulani bandits marry as early as age of 13 or 14. So where is the logic that Kabiru is expressing? To take a step further, the vast majority of terrorists who have been neutralized or captured by our forces leave behind wives and children. Where is the evidence that marriage prevents crime? Ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing more than a profitable fairy tale this figures pitch to politicians to keep cashing out on public fund. When a man already has 2 wives and 30 children roaming the streets hungry and homeless because he cannot provide for them, how is funding a third marriage the best use of state resources? A radical whose mind has been conditioned towards hatred and violent extremism will not be stopped by a wedding certificate. He will simply sleep with his wife at night and rack his AK-47 by day. Weddings are not the answer. What this individual needs is immediate de-radicalization through proper education, critical thinking, and ideological rehabilitation, not subsidized marriages. Subsidizing domestic life for an unradicalized mind does not create peace. It simply expands the household of an extremism. True security begins by transforming how a person thinks, not by funding their appetites. This is nothing but collective nonsense indeed. I don't know how they do this kind of things and get away with it. I
You know
just
where
don't
it
understand. Yeah.
where it becomes interesting for me is that this person saying that, giving us this defective logic that mass wedding is the solution to insecurity in northern Nigeria, that if government wants to end terrorism and banditry, kidnapping and all of these things, let them marry out youths and these problems will automatically disappear. On what premise? What is the logical, you know, bedrock of this kind of comments? And this individual influences millions of people.
I don't understand how they get away with this type of madness.
They are
How
they
this
Yeah.
are
even
just
become
agents of the
main.
state to maintain the
Huh?
status quo. They are just an agents of the state to
This is
maintain the status quo because most of them, if you look at them, all they are just doing for the sake of the state because they have good relationship so that they will be confusing the people, not making the people to what to have that critical mind or mindset that will liberate them from his indoctrination because he knows many people believe what he said. So this is telling the people that they should not blame the government in any way that there is problem. So this is they are telling you that this is part of the government effort to curb insecurity.
I just
That's
don't
just
know how they get away with it. What kind of people
no
let
because
me just be
the
quiet.
people are
This is
not thinking. The people are not thinking. Nobody is asking questions. And nobody if you look at the crowd, the stadium is filled.
oh my god, this is anyway. Let's go to the governor Miriam Wadada, wife of Nasarawa, APC governor candidate, sharing newly minted 500 naira notes to supporters. Let's share that one. Well, That's enough of that madness. Shouldn't that be a crime? Is that not a crime even under their flawed laws? Is that not a crime?
Yeah, it's not a crime because
That is
that
not a
is
crime.
technical. Yeah, as far as they are concerned, they can target charity and giving out money to the needy. That is what they will categorize stuff like this, or they can even call it
At election events.
empowerment. Yeah.
Ah, wow. I don't know what to me. I don't know what to say. Oh, I beg, make we go to
Yes,
Taiwo
they will
Akila.
say it's not. She did not. She's not sharing money based on politics. She will say maybe it's through her foundation because I can remember very sure that she has something that she called the foundation, where she support people, and they mostly use it. That's why you see wife of senators, governors having all their friends or even their daughters or sisters or their brothers having a charity foundation, and they use that as a political this as a political trap to capture people because it's a trap to me. It's a political trap that they use. They use their foundation, orphanage foundation, or anything. They say they give it any kind of beautiful names just because at the end of the day, now she's distributing this to make sure she capture the minds of the people, telling them that her husband, that's the Senator Wadada, the APC governorship aspirant in the state, telling them they are doing philanthropic work. Now she's showing videos online so that other people that didn't even get it, they will see that yes, the man is trying because they are helping people with minted 500 naira. So that's just like kind of strategic campaigning because that's what they call on. They will tell you that yes, the campaign window is not lifted, is not open, but you can do strategic campaigning through NGOs and through some foundations, and you can do some philanthropic work. Through that, you do your campaign. You just use someone as a figurehead. Maybe they can use him. He will be there. They might organize an event. Then the person might appear or someone related to him, so that in one way or the other, the thing is connected to that individual. So that's what they are just doing. They will tell you under the law is this person is just distributing, helping the needy. So they will not say anything about it. So the country itself is a problem. So that weaponization of ignorance, weaponization of poverty is real. And until and unless we are able to make sure that that is mitigated to the barest minimum, that's when we'll be start getting things right. Because the people have been made to the very large extent incapacitated. You are either thinking of what to eat or where to hide or where to stay. So that's why you have no any other option but to surrender to the state. The state have rendered everybody, almost majority of Nigerians, captives. That's why for them to be free, their mind have to be liberated. And that's what movement radio is doing. But quite unfortunate, many people when you invite them here, they will come after some time, they will say you will keep saying things that are almost impossible. Can you fight the government? That's the question. Can you fight the government? So it's something that we need to find a way of resolving.
Of poverty and insecurity. So let's move on to our next article because we're running out of time. I think we've been on here for almost 2 hours. Have we spent that much time? Wow, is that right? Okay, I'm
Yes.
gonna read
Yes.
Taiwo Akinlami's article on this Osun State election that's coming up tomorrow on the 15th, 2 days from now, and then all the drama that have been going on about it, and then you and Abdullahi and Ibukun will do the pidgin version. Let's quickly do this because we're running out of time. By Taiwo Akinlami, Oshun, the Graduate Democracy. That's the title of the article. The Gbajue. Gbajue literally means the fraudulent democracy. Gbajue in Yoruba means fraudulent. So the insanity of expressing shock at what is
You are not
normal.
sharing the screen, Mr. Laba.
I'm not. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Sorry, I didn't know. I thought I was sharing the screen. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, now it's showing
Okay,
now.
now it's showing. Yeah. Okay. The Gbajue democracy. Gbajue means fraudulent in Yoruba, and it's regarding this whole drama that is going on in Osun State. The Gbajue democracy, the insanity of expressing shock at what is normal. Vital Orbital. The diary of a roving council, Gbajue democracy, has locked itself in my mind this morning as I survey the goings-ons in Osun State ahead of the gubernatorial election slated for August 15, 2026. The coinage isn't mine. It belongs to Professor Wole Soyinka, who, with the greatest respect, though I think inappropriately, deployed it to describe a certain class of political actors in the last election cycle. It sent me back many years to the transition to civil rule era, when a democracy then being midwife by being midwife was called a voodoo democracy. Between voodoo democracy and Gbajue democracy, which one is worse? Are we moving from fry pan to fire or from fire to fry pan? I honestly don't know. In 1 week, Osun has seen war, and there is still war. Lives allegedly lost, and this time the threat of incitement to kill as a named attached. Senator Francis Fadaunsi, representing Osun East, was filmed telling APC supporters in Ilesha to kill Accord party members on site. The video is in wild circulation. The police have summoned him. Governor Adeleke has petitioned the Inspector General for his arrest. Then the freezing of the state account by EFCC, first without a court order under its 72-hour administrative hold, before a court order followed for 2 more accounts. A face-saving retreat. President Tinubu, professing himself deeply embarrassed, ordered the EFCC to vacate the freeze. Careful to insist his objection was to the timing, not the agency's mandate. We have seen this schematic before in Edo, where a similar freezing ahead of the last governorship poll preserved 12 billion for the incoming APC administration after it took the state from the PDP. But I am not writing today because I am shocked. I am not writing because I have suddenly discovered which way the pendulum swings on the side of order. I am not writing as an APC loyalist or an Accord loyalist or a card-carrying member of any party. I am not even writing as a disappointed citizen. Nothing that has happened in Osun in the last 2 weeks should shock any Nigerian prepared to be honest with themselves about how this country works. This is how we roll. This is how we do things. So the real issue for me isn't the outrage. It's our appetite for being outraged. To feign surprise when the system does exactly what the system does is in itself naive, and a naivety can no longer afford. So, let me repeat that. So the real issue for me isn't the outrage. It is our appetite for being outraged. To feign surprise when the system does exactly what the system does is in itself naive, and a naivety we can no longer afford. I do not write today to condemn what is going on. I write to interrogate our reactions to it. Because what we are watching in Osun is not an aberration. It is the character of the Nigerian state and its political class, particularly this present crop, who hold federal power the way hostage takers hold a building. It is a preview, a window into 2027. If we genuinely love this country and want it transformed, we have to stop dressing the system up to shock us and start naming it for what it has already it has always been a rigged system, an unjust system, an unfair system, one we have known about for years and only ever seem to rediscover in the run-up to an election. The honest question isn't how could they do this. It is given what we do know about the system. Where do we go from here? Both parties in Osun will outdo themselves before Saturday. Both will play the game as it has always been played. One will win, one will lose. But the real losers, as always, will be the people. The ones who trooped out behind Accord. The ones who stood behind APC. Believing that either flags marks the promised land in our current democracy. It doesn't. Believing otherwise is how we keep deceiving ourselves. What is going on in Osun is condemnable. It is not right, but it is expected. And the people who will bear its cost, the same people cheering on either side, have their faith resting not on which party wins, but on whether they can finally organize instead of agonize. Ask the critical question, hold power accountable, and insist one day that power actually goes to the people. Does it though? What do I know? I'm just a bloody roving council who most of the time doesn't even know how to mind his own business. I have simply come to accept that minding other people's business is my business too. Vital Hospital of Osun, hashtag Osun Graduate Democracy. Mr. Taiwo Akinlami is a follower of Christ, is a husband, a father, an egalitarian, and a goodwill investor, an attorney, and an author. Tribal cultural edge, family strengthening, and child safeguarding innovator and practitioner. He is a value-based parenting ideologue and a change agent, and is also a rebel with a cause. So let us look at the mind map of this article and see where we stand on it. Okay, let me move it to the side. So can you guys do the breakdown pretty fast, because it looks like we are definitely running out of time, right? Don't we have another one after this?
No, I think this will be the last one.
Okay.
So yes, let's quickly run down the mind map.
Hold on.
I think the navigation of this mind map these days is a little bit tricky. Very
It's giving
tricky.
me problem just pushing it to the side.
It's a little bit tricky these days. I've got to adapt too from my own end.
I'm just trying to push it to the side so that we can see it. Should I leave it like this or keep pushing to the side?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, graduate democracy in Osun. I don't hear what they call graduate now. 419 democracy. Now be that fraudulent democracy. And with the use of Osun State election, all right, we go happen this Saturday as a case study. We be say, we coin all of these things. This graduate democracy. Now our Baba Wole Soyinka na him first talk am. We be say we respect am well. Say when Wole Soyinka give a comment about something, now him be say that matter tick well. Sabi Wole Soyinka now, that Nobel laureate holder, that oga wey dey always speak big Oyinbo, normal. Yeah. So there's a particular senator where they call Senator Fadahunsi. There's a viral video where be saying talk say made a poof. A opponent where they contest for that election. All right, they ask in followers when they go they poof people, it gas to take B. no be the kind election of intimidation and threatening the lives of others. Now we want the practice for Nigeria, really. All right. What is the major issue? And of course, one of the major issues is EFCC as they freeze the account of Osun State, put into question the autonomous status of governors, that it is actually relative. Nobody say they feel get power. It shows say president feel press button, we go defund them from access to fund. And of course, you now have to ask whether the funds that they are accessing in the first place are supposed to be accessed for electoral purposes, which is a big issue. So now power play between this, the presidency and the state. So they freeze the account of the state initially without court order. Then they bring about 1 year court order also to legitimize that freezing of the accounts. And of course, Oga Tinubu act embarrassed, and of course, we actually object to timing, not mandate. So there's a shock of events, all right? This is how we roll in Nigeria. Is that how we roll in Nigeria, really? Now, so what they do for a year? Nobody, that's what they do for a year. It's very, very, wrong for, system to create this barricade around elections, such that it is perceived that some bigger hands are manipulating the results even before the election don't start. All right. So it is naive for us to act surprised that they say it now new thing to us. We not supposed to see them as new thing, because the system is designed to be like that. It's a mafia system where we say who fit intimidate pass now in the win. Who can intimidate financially, who can intimidate using thugs, who can intimidate using inciting narrative, who fit provoke person pass. And that is not how elections should look like. And of course, we have to focus on reaction, not outrage. Interrogating our appetite for outrage. Events are not an aberration. That is, election, now event, all right, no be do or die affair. All right, the political class holds power hostage. Yes, they no one leave that power. Now I'm made they hold power like say their life depending on it. It is also called political survival. When people wait they up, no one agree, for other new ideas, other new breeds of politicians to rise to the top. And when you have a bigger player that is trying to intimidate the lower entity, that is what is going on. APC, they want to intimidate the Accord party, which happens to be the incumbent party. So the governor is very, very much threatened, by that. So rediscovering the system, only during election run-ups. Honest question: where do we go from here? Yes, the question we're supposed to ask ourselves is, say, where do we go from here? Having taken into cognizance, say we did for this kind of situation, we be say now like courtism. Election don't be like a tug of war. And of course, it's not about people deciding freely, fairly, peacefully who go emerge as their next leader. Now you can see with the way the thing they look, because of the resources where they want, thief from the system, based on the comments of many analysts, really, and that it goes beyond just service. It is about access to the resources, the public people's resources, access to our money. Now, parties play the same game. Yes, one will win, one will lose. Yes, now, the real losers are the people believing party flags mark promised land, deceiving ourselves. Yes, it be like, say, this fight will happen between Adeleke and the APC party, it be like now the people go lose. So no be say we are going to win. They are not fighting to serve us. They fight because of access to the people's resources. And call to action for the people is to organize instead of agonize. Waiting be organize. All right. Okay. Why do we have to agonize? Well, we can organize towards bringing about credible leaders in election. We have to ask critical questions. Ask questions wey matter. All right. Wetin be this person plan? Wetin be im manifesto? Wetin be im trajectory? All right. And of course, how does he intend to implement these programs, these plans, these promises? What timeline? How long do we have to wait before we can start asking him the question of his electoral promises? Holding power accountable is very fundamental, and insist say make power go to the right people. All right, not people will be saying they are indeed just puppets. Now different person they control them. All right. So roving counsel, minding other people's business, follower of Christ's husband. I don't know what this means. Can you switch to the left a little bit? If you feel help me switch to make I see that subheading.
This is the
Authors
details of the
okay.
writer.
That's the
Because
details of the writer. The article has finished.
I was wondering, waiting that one. I think the connection of that one to the article.
Yeah, we've been on here for almost 2.5 hours. I think we
Yes.
have enough
yes.
for today. So let's
Yes.
round up. And we shared something details a lot about the election. Too bad we do not have
Yes.
contributors who wants to discuss because we are not carrying party flag. We don't people don't want to join. It's okay, but we will repeat this show later on for people who missed it to hear it. Yesterday we did a lot of our shows, like about 4 or 5 shows. I started in the
Yeah.
morning. I didn't stop till evening. I think I run about 4 or 5 shows yesterday. Just
Yes,
keep
that was
I
going.
saw it because I was checking it. I saw it always. I say, wow, that's a great one.
All right. The rerun, I mean, the streaming. So, anyway, we're about to round up. Let's thank the people that have joined us. Quite a few people, not as much as we are. I say Mensa, David Bades, Oluwa Jumi. The links on TikTok is too long. I'm not going to attempt or try to call out those names. I can't. I can't see names for Facebook. I can't see names on YouTube. But which other one? X, sorry, X. The audio section of X. I have Ebitimi and Freno, dedicated followers. They're always there with us 24/7. Anytime they want to join us in the studio, they're free to. What else do I wanted to say? That thank you all for joining us. We will repeat this show later on, and more people can then listen to it and watch it on Twitch. Also, I can't see the names, but thank you all. I'm Alaba Ferreira from Chicago, and then we continue to bring you interesting uh, articles that reflect our pragmatic reality. This is the Movement Radio. Our core belief is that Nigerian struggle is not a pro-democracy one. Our primary focus is that it is a liberation struggle, and it requires the conscious. A lot of our people are not conscious, so we're trying to make them conscious. And Nigeria, as currently as it is now, has been captured by a most rapacious class of evil men. The likes of Adolf Hitler are running that country now, terribly evil people. We also believe on the Movement Radio that the Nigerian problem is summarized as 1, our collective silence; 2, the enemies within. We will be bringing you more shows regarding who are those enemies within. So stay tuned. You might just see your name pop up when we start naming enemies within in future. Stay tuned for more of such shows. And 3, the big man, the ruiners, those we call the ruiners. We believe Nigeria is operating a system that is similar to apartheid, but it is worse than apartheid. It's a system of big manism. It's a system that dehumanizes other fellow human beings. It's a system that puts one man above the other. a superiority complex, a white supremacy complex. So it is this system that we are trying to bring down, trying to destroy with our words, our actions, and what we do here on the Movement Radio. That's why we call ourselves the movement. We are moving, movement of God's people. We are moving towards liberation. That's our objective. So our movement is towards freedom. We are changing narrative. We are empowering minds. The Movement Radio is a medium for liberation of the African mind. That's what we stand for. It is open to the public. It's open to everybody to join us in discussion, for you to agree with us, for you to disagree with us, for you to question us. In future, we would also be bringing you access whereby you can call in directly into our show. You won't only just depend on social media to interact with us. You can phone us directly or send us an email whereby we can interact with you. We will make that provisions for you hopefully by next week. But our next show is coming up on Saturday, same time, between 5 p.m. Nigerian time and 5 p.m. and that will be 11 p.m. US time, Chicago time. So we are on a show every Tuesday, a new show every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, and every Sunday. So that's our schedule. From the beginning of our history as a country, we continue to struggle with the true nature of our mission and purpose. We hope that our actions here at the Movement Radio will help us discover our mission and our purpose, and we will act on that purpose. So that is all I've got to now. I'm going to hand over the microphone to, we have two correspondents from Nigeria. We have one from Abuja, the capital city, and we have one from Lagos. So I'm going to hand over the microphone so they can add their finishing touches. Today's topic have been quite enlightening. Can election fix Nigeria? And obviously here at the Movement Radio, partisan election as currently set up, we don't believe can save Nigeria. We can see from the example of what's going on in Osun State, what has happened in Ekiti, what has happened in Edo, and what has happened is it Anambra State or Abia. So Nigeria is in trouble. We all have to speak out. We all have to play our role. We all have to participate. Click, like, share, do whatever you can. Let the message spread. Let the people know this is going on. We have to change the minds of our people. The greatest weapon the oppressor has against the oppressed is the mind of the oppressed. It says, free your mind and the rest will follow. And fella has it better. You have been a slave long before. They have released you now, but you still have not released yourself. And Bob Marley has it better. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. It seems my a cappella is not that good. Okay, I'm going to hand over the I'm going to hand over the microphone to Abdullahi and Ibuku in Abuja and Lagos. Thank you all very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so very much indeed for your participation, because coming on to watch us, to view what we've got for you. And of course, as always, that is always very power packed and very rich. And we hope to keep doing this regularly so that there'll be no any excuse or for anyone to say that there is no platform that is indeed bringing out what should constitute the real news. All right. So we try our best to bring to your notice, what should constitute the news media. So we're trying our best. Thank you so very much for coming on today's broadcast. We hope to come online on Saturday by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. Please tune in and let's connect together. Let's exchange. And of course, all of our programs would have replay broadcast or rerun on days where we are not live. So look forward to that. So it's an opportunity for you to catch up with what we have been up to or what happened during the live coverage. Drop your comments, share, like, subscribe, follow, do all you have to do to support contents like this so that we can be encouraged to keep doing more. Thank you so very much. Passing the mic to correspondent in Abuja.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all our audience across all social media platforms. I remain Abdullah Salisoli here from Abuja. The only thing I have to tell all of us is that we have to keep sharing. Let's subscribe, like, and share. The more we make this message go viral, the more we make the message go far, the closer we move towards our liberation. So our liberation, as we always said, that is our collective effort. And as Movement Radio always said, as our own core principles, we said that Nigeria is what is a need of liberation. So that liberation is impossible if we decide to keep the message all with us alone. But if we spread the liberation will be very possible and very easy. So we are doing our part as movement. You can do your part by sharing the message, telling someone, bringing someone on. Let the person listen. Let the person air out his opinion. We don't say that we have superiority complex of idea, but we believe that true liberation will only happen when the people are informed, enlightened, and educated. So we on the Movement Radio, we educate, we inform, and we enlighten. So, and if you can go back and listen to all our broadcasts from the first to this current broadcast, you see we have been consistent. And consistency is what makes things work. So we have been consistent, and we summarize the Nigerian problems as three, as mentioned by Movement Radio Chicago: our collective silence, the enemies within, and the realness. So you might be fall one of the categories. It's either you are silent, not from making sure that Nigeria and Nigerians liberate from the hands of the realness, or you are an enemy within. So let's work towards the Nigerian liberation. I remain Abdullah Salisu. Let's see you on Saturday, same time, 5 p.m. Nigerian time and 11 a.m. Chicago. So let's do it again. Saturday, we do it. Thank you.